All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving into a topic I think a lot of us struggle with, this
Yeah.
difference between loneliness and being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you guys have said this in part 2, loneliness versus being alone.
Right.
So let's unpack this a bit.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're someone who is
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to be more comfortable with
Right.
being alone.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to figure out why you feel so disconnected when you are alone.
Well, and that's what's so interesting about this source.
Yeah.
Is it really emphasizes that being alone isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Interesting.
In fact, it can actually be very empowering.
Okay, so the source jumps right in
Yeah.
and distinguishes between loneliness and being alone.
Yeah.
And it says that loneliness is an emotional state,
Mm-hmm.
while being alone is a physical state.
Exactly.
Is it really that simple?
Well, it is foundational because
Yeah.
it means that you can be surrounded by people and feel really lonely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But you can also be by yourself and be completely content.
Yeah.
You can imagine someone who's hiking alone in the mountains. They're alone, but they're not lonely.
Right.
But then you think about someone who's at a crowded party,
Yeah.
but they feel like nobody understands them.
Oh, totally.
They feel completely invisible.
Yeah.
That person's lonely.
Yeah, lonely in a crowd.
Exactly.
It's almost like that saying,
Right.
loneliness is a crowd.
It is.
So it really is about connection.
Yeah.
And not just physical proximity.
Connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
if being alone doesn't have to equal loneliness,
Right.
how do we actually get to that point?
How do we embrace solitude
Yeah, how do we embrace solitude
without those pangs of loneliness?
without feeling those pangs of loneliness? Yeah.
Well, the source suggests that we have to start
Okay.
by changing how we see solitude.
Okay.
Instead of looking at it as a negative thing,
Okay.
we can reframe it as a chance to recharge,
Okay.
to focus on ourselves,
Okay. So it's not a punishment.
right?
It's potentially a gift.
A gift.
Yeah.
And there are even studies that show that solitude can boost creativity, introspection, and
Interesting.
help us manage stress.
I wonder if that has anything to do with whether you are more introverted or extroverted.
Absolutely.
Do those different personality types experience this differently?
Absolutely. Introverts, they actually gain energy from solitude. They use it as a way to kind of recharge.
Right.
Whereas extroverts might find that they gain more energy
Okay.
from social interaction. So
Yeah.
it really is about finding that balance.
Yeah.
What works for you as an individual.
Right, because it's not one size fits all.
Exactly.
Okay, so embracing solitude starts with how we view it.
Yes.
But what about some more practical steps?
Well,
How do we actually make the most of that alone time?
the source talks about
Yeah.
developing routines that you enjoy doing solo.
Yeah.
So that could be reading, painting, anything that brings you joy.
Okay.
The idea is that when you have things that you love to do alone,
Yeah.
being alone becomes something that you actually want to do.
Right.
It's not something you're forced to do.
So you're intentionally choosing to be alone.
Exactly.
Do you think there's a risk there for some people that they might isolate themselves even more?
Well, I think that's where the importance of meaningful relationships comes in.
Okay.
The source emphasizes
Right.
that it's not about the number of friends you have. It's about the quality of those connections.
Right.
A few close friends can be more fulfilling
For sure.
than a huge social circle where you don't feel like you can really be yourself.
Totally. And it goes back to that idea of connection.
Connection, exactly.
Yeah. And there's that balance, right?
Yeah.
Honoring those needs for solitude,
Absolutely.
but also making sure that you're nurturing
Yes.
those close connections. I also thought it was interesting what the source said about mindfulness and gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests that loneliness can sometimes stem from
Yes.
focusing on what we lack.
What we're missing.
Yeah, instead of what we
Yes,
have.
Absolutely. And gratitude can really help us to appreciate those moments of solitude
Okay.
instead of being afraid of them.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, I'm all alone,
Right.
we can shift to, I'm grateful for this quiet time.
I like that.
And mindfulness helps us just observe those feelings of loneliness
Yeah.
without judging them.
It seems like this all comes back to our perspective, doesn't it?
Perspective is everything.
Instead of fearing solitude, we can embrace it as a chance to reconnect with ourselves, explore those interests, and cultivate gratitude.
Yeah, and we might even find that the key to conquering loneliness isn't surrounding ourselves with people all the time,
Yeah,
but it's fostering that connection with ourselves first.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
It's not about becoming a hermit. It's about recognizing the value of solitude
Right.
in living a fulfilling life.
The part of life.
So next time you find yourself alone,
Yeah.
Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Embrace that quiet.
Embrace it.
And remember, this could be an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
Exactly.
Here's something I want you to think about.
Okay.
What's one thing you've always wanted to try, but you felt like you needed someone to do it with?
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to a museum, trying a new restaurant, taking a weekend trip. What if you challenge yourself and you do it solo?
What if you did?
You might be surprised by the confidence and fulfillment you discover.
It might change everything.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. See you next time.
See ya.